radio, tagaan mong lingaw. Kay giving you the best music and everything, that's what make us proud. So turn your radio up, don't stop. Chillin' while tune in sa radio. All day, all night, dito yun lang sa Z-Radio. Isang uga sa pakapadulong, sa balay man o trabaho. Giving you the best music and everything, dito lang sa Z-Radio. Kay ang adlang siguradong liyaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawan na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawan na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kay ang adlang siguradong liyaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawan na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawan na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawan na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawan na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawan na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawan na Pasibya, Z-Radio.
Hoy, tara, magklase na ta! Tara, tara! Sige, sige! Let's go!
Kunin na ang radyo, hanapin ang Z-Radio. Halika na at makinig, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Umulan man umaraw, ganun nga siya'y susulong. Kaya halika na, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela.
Handog ng DepEd Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya!
Let's go!
Nagasibya gikan sa Bulawanong probinsya sa Davao de Oro. Kini ang Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, 88.5 Z-Radio.
This is Z-Radio 88.5.
Good morning, Davao de Oro. Our food for thought for today is from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 12. And it says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. Reflection. God is love. The love of the Father and the Son is an attribute of every believer. The Word of God is the channel through which divine love is communicated to man. God's truth is the medium by which the intellect is reached. The Holy Spirit is given to the human agent who works in cooperation with divine agencies. It transforms mind and character, enabling man to endure as seeing Him who is invisible. Perfect love can be enjoined only through the belief of the truth and the reception of the Holy Spirit. Christ prayed that His disciples might realize the importance of the love that He expressed by giving His life for the world. He desired them to understand something in regard to His infinite sacrifice. If they had more fully understood His self-sacrificing love, they would never have engaged in alienation and strife. I urge all who claim to believe present truth to practice the truth. If they do this, they will have stronger and more powerful influence for good. The world will see that the love expressed by believers is the central and controlling principle of Christ's followers. Christ-like love blends heart with heart. The truth draws men together. It brings into harmony and unity all who have earnest, living faith in the Savior. Christ designs those who believe in Him to develop and become strong by association with one another. All who work unselfishly in the Master's service bear credentials to the world that God has sent His Son to this earth. Although a company of Christians united in church capacity have not all the same talents, yet it is the duty of everyone to work. Talents differ, but to every man is given his work. All are dependent upon Christ in God. He is the glorious head of all the grades and classes of people associated through faith in the Word of God. Bound together by a common belief in heavenly principles, they are all dependent on Him, who is the author and finisher of their faith. He has created the principles that produce universal oneness, universal love. His followers should meditate upon His love. They should not stop short of reaching the standards set before them. If the principles of Christianity are lived, they will produce universal harmony and perfect peace. When the heart is imbued with the Spirit of Christ, there is no quarreling, no seeking for the supremacy, no striving to be reigning lords.
Sa timuang may mabeya at sa pagtingala sa bubuhat. Davao de Oro, tuburan sa paglao. Sa Davaoan yung mahuswagot. Ang kaanyang mo makabibihan, talag sa undas sa kahitasan. Kamukirang sa lumang ialimahan, bunga sa karagayan. Kapag ni Oro yutang saan, may bulawang may pagluban. Yuta mong nagmadagayaon, mga anak mong mahigugmaon. Ipalipon sa bayanihan, iumol sa panag-iusap. Sa timumang may mapeya at sa pagtinabangan may kalamluan. Davao de Oro, kanimong nagamitan among kabulahanan. Davao de Oro, magulawanong paraiso. Sa nag-iusang Davaoenyo, ang kaanyang makabibihan, talag sa ondas sa kahitasan. Kabukiran sa lumang ialimahan, bunga sa kalagayan. Davao de Oro, kanimong nagabitan among kabulahanan. Davao de Oro, magulawanong paraiso. Sa nag-iusang Davaoenyo, Davao de Oro, Davao de Oro, dagat tuyutan, buhing bulawan. Davao de Oro, Davao de Oro, dagat tuyutan, buhing
Z Radio 88.5.
Check your time. It's already 16 minutes past the hour of 10. Again, atong oras karon mga ka-Z-Eskwela. Alas 10, 16 na sa buntag. Ugang time check sa atong gihapon kanato ni Vice Governor Maria Carmen Zamora. Isang magandang morning sa lahat po ng ating mga Zuking listeners. Saan mang dako po kayo naroroon. Labaw na sa atong mga Zuking tigpaminaw dinhi sa atong Bulawanong probinsya sa Davao de Oro. Laki po sabang atong mga silingang lalawigan nga abot ning atong sibiyahanan. It's a wonderful Tuesday po sa ating lahat. And it's June 15, 2021. Ayan, so good morning sa ato ang mga heads diya sa atong Division Office, Division of Davao de Oro, most especially no, sa atong SDS. To Ma'am Euphemia Gamutin, hello Ma'am Fem, good morning. Of course, to our ASDS, Sir Romel Handayan. Sa ito ang duha ka chief to Sir Ruben Riponte and Ma'am Arlene Lim, who happens also to be our RBI Directress with Ma'am Noemi Canales. And to the rest po ng ating EPSs dyan, ug sa ubang mga personahe, ayan, good morning po sa ating lahat. Anyas, tayo po'y nagbabalik para po sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Siguradong masaya. At ang ating programa hatid po sa atin ng DepEd Division of Davao de Oro in partnership with the Z Radio 88.5. Ayan, and for the first 2 hours, ako po inyong makakasama. Kaya be with me po hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. At mamaya naman po susunod si Sir Drew Manuel. Samahan niyo po siya hanggang alas 2 ng hapon. Ito pa rin po ang chinitang maestra ng Nabunturan, Mamay Rasma po. Once again, samahan niyo po ako hanggang alas 12 ng tanghaling ito. So, maaliwalas po ang ating Tuesday morning. So, good morning once again sa atong mga Zuking listeners, labaw na sa atong mga kaubanan sa buhat, no? Our dear teachers nga nakaroon sa ilang mga tagsa ka mga station, labaw na sa mga naka-skeletal workforce, no? Mga on-site karon. Ayan, good morning mga ma'am and sir! Isang maligayang Tuesday po sa inyo o ampingats gid kanunay, no? Kana sa ato ang mga Zuking listeners, kung asa man man tamuad to. Ayan, always maintain the physical distancing, guys. Magsulog kita sa itong mga face mask o face shield, no? And always sanitize good. Okay, so sa lahat po ng ating mga avid listeners, tayo po ay mapakapakinggan sa ating Z-Radio 88.5 po sa inyong mga radio dial. At sa mga nakatutog naman po online, ayan, live na live pa rin po tayo this Tuesday morning, mga ka-Z-Eskwela, sa atin pong mga social media platforms. Yes, we're live at Z-Radio 88.5 natin nga Facebook page. Also at DepEd tayo, Division of Davao de Oro, o sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, DepEd Davao de Oro. Ayan, sa ating madlang netizens, hello po sa inyo, isang magandang morning po. So para sa inyong mga messages, just keep it coming. Kung doon na kamoy mga mensaheng buot, ipaabot ka na mo para po sa inyong mga pag-greetings dyan, mga pa-shoutout o sa uban pang concerns. Yes, just feel free nga ma-comment sa ato ang mga comment boxes, mga ka-Z-Eskwela. And of course, doon na kita YouTube channel diin uploaded dito, no, ang ato ang mga past episodes, mga kung doon na mo yung mga episodes nga na missed or mga episodes nga gusto ninyong balikan, so pwede kayo na ninyo matanaw. All you need to do is to subscribe. So hopefully nakasubscribe na. Sa mga wala pa nakasubscribe, ayan, our YouTube channel po is Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Ayan, so palike po ng ating mga videos, and of course, don't forget to hit the notification bell para pina-uptick ma-notify mo kung doon na tayo mga bagong episodes no nga tuang i-upload. Alas 10:20 na po sa buntag, mga ka-Z-Eskwela, and for this Tuesday episode po, apat po na lesson presentations ang ating sabay-sabay na matutunghayan. Ayan, so for our first po is all about Mathematics 9 po. Susunod naman dyan ang ating Grade 10 Mathematics, Grade 11 Statistics and Probability, and Grade 12 Basic Calculus. Ayan, all about mathematics po ang ating mga pag-uusapan for today's episode. Kaya maganda na po ang ating mga grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12 na mga madlang learners. Ayan, tumutok na po kayo at ihanda niyo po ang inyong mga modules, of course, ang inyong mga kaugalingon. And we have our attendance link for today, mga ka-Z-Eskwela, so that is why we are encouraging, no, our dear learners nga mo access to notify us with your attendance. Ang ating link po ay naka-flash sa ating mga screen ngayon at nakapin rin po yan sa ating mga comment boxes. So, our attendance link for today po para sa ating RBI class is https://tinyurl.com/Radyo Z-Eskwela June 15. Ayan, hihintayin po namin, dear learners, ang inyong mga responses. So, kasama ko po this morning our VMix operator, Sir Tata Acusar, and of course, we also have our SMPT, Sir Angelo Gutierrez. So kami po ang inyong makakasama para sa ating episode for today. Ayan, good morning also pala sa ating mga program sponsors. Ayan, hello po mga ma'am and sir, isang magandang morning po sa inyo. 10:21 na po and we shall begin our class para po sa araw na ito. At ang atin pong uunahin ay ang ating grade 9 mathematics. Ang atin pong pag-uusapan is ang the 6 trigonometric ratios, the sine, cosine, tangent, and secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Kaya tumutok na po kayo, samahan po natin our content presenter na si Ma'am Thelma B. Nanalis, ang Teacher 3 po mula sa Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School, along with her creative resource material developer na si Ma'am Christine Joy R. Dalugdog, Teacher 1, still from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School. Alas 10:22 na, mga ka-Z-Eskwela. Join us today and learn significantly on these math-amazing lessons together with your math-amazing teachers. Kaya naman po, tara na, magklase na ta!
Good morning, grade 10 students, and as well as to our avid listeners. You are listening to Radyo Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Masaya. We are here once again for another learning session in mathematics. This is your teacher on air for grade 9 mathematics, Teacher Thelma B. Nanali from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School. Let us have fun and learn from our today's topics. Be sure that you are listening attentively and follow all the directions of the activities. So before we start our discussion, make sure you are in a comfortable place and prepare the following: notebook, ball pen, and any scratch paper. After our discussion for today, you are expected to achieve the following objectives: prove the Pythagorean theorem, solve problems using Pythagorean theorem. I know some of you are just hearing this for the first time, and some of you may find it somewhat familiar. Today's discussion is focused mainly with Pythagorean theorem, which is sometimes called Pythagoras theorem. You are maybe wondering, who is Pythagoras and what is a theorem? Well, Pythagoras is a well-known Greek philosopher who proved the theorem. That is why it was named after him. In mathematics, theorem is simply a statement that has been proven to be true from other things that either known or accepted true. But the most important thing that you need to know is that the Pythagorean theorem describes an important geometric relationship between the three sides of a right triangle. Pythagorean theorem states that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. Before we use this theorem, let us prove this first using the two-column proof. In your notebook, draw a right triangle wherein the hypotenuse is lying down. Name the vertex of the right angle as M, while the other vertices are L and M. Name the side that connects the L and M as R. Name the side that connects M and N as S. And the hypotenuse as T. It is given that LM is equal to R and MN is equal to S as the legs. Another given is LN is equal to T as the hypotenuse, and angle LMN is a right angle. We will prove that R squared plus S squared equals T squared. And an additional information, we will construct altitude MK as W to the hypotenuse LN, dividing it to LK, which is equal to U, and KN, which is equal to C. If you look at the final drawing, you can see that we can make three right triangles, which are the triangle LMN, triangle MKN, and triangle LKM. Let us start now with our first statement. I will give you a hint. Describe triangles LMN, MKN, and LKM when an altitude MK is drawn to the hypotenuse, what do you think is the answer? Correct! Triangle LMN is similar to triangle MKN is similar to triangle LKM. And the reason is right triangle similarity theorem. For the next statement, this is the hint. Write the proportions involving the geometric means R and S. What should be the statement? Correct! U over R equals R over T, and V over S equals S over T. And the reason is special properties of right triangles. The hint for the next statement is you need to cross-multiply the terms of the proportions in statement 2. What should be the answer? Correct! R squared equals UT and S squared equals VT. And the reason is cross multiplication property of proportions. For the next statement, the hint is you need to add S squared to both sides of R squared equals UT in statement 3. What should be the answer? Correct! R squared plus S squared equals UT plus S squared. The reason for that is addition property of equality. The next hint is substitute S squared on the right side of statement 4, using its equivalent from statement 3. What should be the answer? Correct! R squared plus S squared equals UT plus RT. R squared plus S squared equals UT plus VT. The reason for that is substitution. The next hint is factor the right side of statement 5. What could be the result? Correct! R squared plus S squared equals T quantity U plus V. The reason for that is common monomial factor. For statement 7, the hint is substitute U plus V in statement 6 by its equivalent length in the figure. What will be the result? Correct! R squared plus S squared equals T quantity T. The reason for that is segment addition postulate. And the hint for our last statement is simplify the right side of statement 7. What will be the result? Correct! R squared plus S squared equals C squared. The reason for that is product law of exponents. Now, we are able to prove the Pythagorean theorem, but we are not yet done because we will try to solve problems using the formula. So, sit back and relax. Don't go away. We will be back after the break.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
We're back! So let us apply the Pythagorean theorem into problem. It was stated earlier that in Pythagorean theorem, the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. Did you get it? All right. To make it easier, let us state it this way. For a right triangle with legs A and B and hypotenuse C, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. As you can see from this definition, the Pythagorean theorem doesn't apply to all triangles. It only applies to right triangles. As you know, right triangles always include one right angle that you usually see with a square mark that helps you to identify it. But if you cannot see the mark, make sure to identify the right angle correctly because it will help you to identify the one important side of the right triangle, which is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle, and it is always the side that's opposite of the right angle. In order to use the Pythagorean theorem, you need to be able to identify the hypotenuse because that's what the variable C stands for, and the theorem C is the length of the hypotenuse side, while the other two sides of the triangle is what you call the legs. The length of each leg is represented by the variables A and B. Now, let us find out what does A squared plus B squared equals C squared really tells us. It means that we take the lengths of the two legs and square them, which means multiplying them by themselves. A squared is A times A and B squared is B times B. If we add the two squared value together, it is equal to the total of the square of the hypotenuse, which C squared or C times C. I know it sounds so confusing to you. So let us have an example so that Pythagorean theorem makes sense. Example: you have a right triangle. The legs has the measurement of 3 and 4, while the hypotenuse measures 5. If we were to use the formula A squared plus B squared equals C squared, we need to assign this value to the variable in the formula. Let us take this way. A is equal to 3 and B is equal to 4, and since 5 is the measure of the hypotenuse, it will be the measurement of C. So, if we substitute the following values in the formula, it will become 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. To know if it is really true, we need to simplify it. 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is equal to 16. And 5 squared is equal to 25. Let's check to see if the Pythagorean theorem is really true. If you add the squared amount of A and B, which are 9 and 16, they really do equal to the squared amount of C, which is 25. So, what is the use of Pythagorean theorem? Pythagorean theorem is used when one of the measurement of the three sides is missing. Example: A equals 5 and B equals 12. What is the value of C? To solve this problem, we will use the formula of Pythagorean theorem, which is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. In this case, we are looking for the measurement of the hypotenuse. Substitute the given value in the formula. It will become 5 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. Simplify by multiplying 5 and 12 by itself. 5 times 5 is 25. And 12 times 12 is 144. Just copy C squared. With this, the equation becomes 25 plus 144 equals C squared. If you add up 25 and 144, it will become 169. The equation will be 169 equals C squared. But since we are looking for the value of C, we need to find a way to eliminate the squared. To eliminate exponent 2, we need to find the square root of both sides of the equation. The square root of 169 is 13. And the exponent of C will be eliminated. Therefore, the value of C is 13. Did you get the process? Very good. Let us try another example. Given that A equals 9 and C equals 41, what is the measurement of B? In this case, we are looking for the measurement of one of the legs, which is B. How will be able to solve it? Correct! We need to substitute the given value to the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And we will get 9 squared plus B squared equals 41 squared. Multiply 9 and 41 by itself. 9 times 9 is 81. And 41 times 41 is 1,681. The equation will become 81 plus B squared equals 1,681. Since we are looking for the value of B, we need to eliminate 81 by using addition property of equality, which means we need to add the same number with different sign on both sides of the equation. We will have 81 plus 81 plus B squared equals 1,681 plus negative 81. 81 and negative 81 will become 0. B squared will be left, while on the other side of the equation, it will become 1,600. The equation will be B squared equals 1,600. To eliminate the exponent 2 of B, find the square root of both sides. It will be the square root of 1,600 is 40. Therefore, the value of B is 40. Don't go away. We will have more of this after the break.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
I'm back! Let us have our last example before we end our discussion for today. Listen carefully and take note some important information as I read the problem. Alright, are you ready? A 13-feet ladder is leaning against a vertical wall. If the foot of the ladder is 5 feet from the wall, how high does the ladder reach? I repeat, a 13-feet ladder is leaning against a vertical wall. If the foot of the ladder is 5 feet from the wall, how high does the ladder reach? If you were to draw the illustration, what part of the right triangle is 13 feet? That's right! The ladder represents the measurement of the hypotenuse. How about 5 feet? Correct! The distance from the foot of the ladder and the wall represent the measurement of one of the legs of the triangle. If 5 feet measures A and 13 feet is C, what are we going to find? Very good! We are looking for B of the measurement of one of the leg. So, to solve this problem, all we need to do is to substitute the given measurement to the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And simplify until you find the value of the missing part. To start, substitute 5 to A and 13 to C. It will become 5 squared plus B squared equals 13 squared. Next is simplify 5 squared and 13 squared. 5 times 5 is 25 and 13 times 13 is 169. The equation will become 25 plus B squared equals 169. To eliminate 25 on the left side of the equation, add negative 25 to both sides of the equation. It becomes 25 plus negative 25 plus b squared equals 169 plus negative 25. And once it will be simplified, it will become b squared equals 144. Since we are looking for the value of b, we need to eliminate the exponent 2 by putting radical sign on both sides. The exponent will be eliminated and we will solve for the square root of 144, which is 12. Therefore, the measurement of the side B, or the measurement of how high does the ladder reach, is 12. Did you get the same answer? Very good. Always remember the following. Pythagorean theorem states that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. Pythagorean theorem only applies in right triangle. In a right triangle, the longest side is called hypotenuse, while the other two sides that form the right angle are called the legs. Lastly, Pythagorean theorem is used when one of the sides of a right triangle is missing. I hope you learned something from today's discussion. That's it for today. Once again, this is Teacher Salma Bataluna Nanali at your service. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye!
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive and Technical Working Committee. The School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. Curriculum Implementation Division OIC Chief, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Program Director, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Assistant Program Director, Noemi P. Canales. Members, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opena, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, Dr. Andy P. Cabodok, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Ryan Villanueva, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard D. Apit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Production and Communications, Lorily E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judiland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen C. Manuel, Irene Leia C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Lanara, Joanne T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo C. Gutierrez Jr., Jade Karen R. Arais, Eliza May Garsuta, Sedi S. Caballero, and Jane S. Caballero. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here at Z Radio 88.5, ang istasyong siguradong
We have just witnessed our first lesson presentation for today's episode po. At ang atin pong napag-usapan ay ang Pythagorean Theorem. Nais natin pong pasalamatan at congratulate po ang ating content presenter na si Teacher Thelma B. Nanali, Teacher 3 mula sa Nabuntra National Comprehensive High School. Kasama po ang kanyang Creative Resource Material Developer na si Teacher Christine Joy R. Dalugdog. Congratulations ako sa ating mga grade 9 learners nga nakatuto karon and hopefully mas nasabtan ninyo ato ang lesson for today para po sa ating Mathematics 9. Eksaktong alas 11 na po ng umaga mga ka-Z-Eskwela, kauban gihapon ninyo karong mga oras ha, Teacher Maymay Resma po. At samahan niyo po ako hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Mamaya naman po inyong makakasama si Sir Drew Manuel hanggang alas 2 po ng hapon. Para pa rin po yan sa inyong paboritong programa. Ito po ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Yan ang ating programa po, hatid po sa atin ng DAPA Division of Davao de Oro in partnership with the Z Radio 88.5. So just keep your messages coming in mga ka-Z-Eskwela. And once again sa ating dear learners nga nakatuto ka nato karon, kung kamawala pa no, nakapadala sa inyong mga responses alang po sa atong attendance for today. Ang ating link, is naka-flash po sa ating screen ngayon at nakapin rin po sa ating mga comment boxes. Once again, for our link for today is https://tinyurl.com/Radyo Z-Eskwela June 15. Ayan, June 15, happy kaarawan sa lahat po ng ating mga ka-Z-Eskwela ang nag-celebrate karon sa ilang mga adlawng natawhan. Ayan, happy birthday! Ug sa uban pang okasyon ngayong gina-celebrate karon, ayan, happy celebration po sa inyo. Our Father's Day celebration is fast approaching, no? So, hopefully, ang atong mga dear learners, nag-andam na pud mo sa inyo ang mga ipanghatag or mga ipangsulti ninyo ngadto sa ato ang mga pinalanggang mga amahan. Yes, 11:01 na po na ang ating oras ngayon mga ka-Z-Eskwela. Nais ko lamang batiin at pasalamatan po ang ating mga program sponsors. Hello and good morning po to Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply. Hello also to Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Curvada Tagum Gasoline Station, and hello to Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, and to GP&H Construction Incorporated. Alas 11:02 na po ang ating oras ngayon. Tapos na po tayo sa ating unang lesson presentation. 3 pa po ang natitira. Kaya naman sa lahat ng ating mga grade 10 learners dyan, maganda na po kayo dahil ang ating susunod na lesson presentation ay para po sa inyo. Kaya manatili pa rin pong nakatune in sa inyong paboritong radio station. Ito po ang Z Radio 88.5, ang istasyong siguradong lingaw o siguradong kuyaw. So without much ado, we shall now proceed po sa ating second lesson presentation for today's episode. Ang ating grade 10 mathematics, atin pong pag-uusapan ang how to interpret measures of positions. Atin pong makakasama sa our content presenter, si Sir Julius Ernest Miranda, isang teacher 1 mula sa Mabini National High School. Sabay-sabay po nating tunghayan ang kanyang lesson presentation. So join us today and learn significantly on these math-mazing lessons together with your math-mazing teachers. Kaya naman po, tara na, magklase na ta!
Good morning, Davao de Oro. Good morning, DepEd family, and good morning, Mathematics 10 learners. Welcome to Z Radio 88.5, Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw. I am Sir Julius Ernest R. Miranda of Mabini National High School, the Shoreline's finest school in Davao de Oro, and I will be your mathematics teacher for today. I know that you have been busy answering the modules given to you by your teachers. Nonetheless, do spare time to listen as we discuss another lesson in Mathematics 10. So today, let us continue to learn more regarding our lesson in Mathematics 10. Be in your study area as we begin our lesson for today. Prepare your modules in Mathematics 10, some paper and scratch papers, your pencils and ball pens. Also prepare some water and other materials you need to learn. Be comfortable and listen well. Are you now ready, my dear Mathematics 10 learners? I'm sure you are. Come on, let us learn about how to interpret measures of positions. As we go through our lesson this morning, these are the things we expected to learn. In this lesson, you will be able to A. Recall quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. B. Interprets measures of positions. And letter C. Value accumulated knowledge as means of new understanding. Before we go through our main topic this morning, let us have a review about the measures of positions. Let us have a question and answer portion. I will give you 5 seconds to think for the answer. Review question number 1. The median score can also be equal to what decile? The answer is 5th decile. Review question number 2. The lower quartile can be equal into what percentile? The answer is 25th percentile. Review question number 3. Which decile determines 70% of the data? The answer is 7th decile. Review question number 4. The upper quartile can be equal into what percentile? The answer is 7th percentile. Review question number 5. Which quartile determines 50% of the data? And the answer is 2nd quartile. Congratulations if you have all the correct answer. If not, still congratulations. Now, let us now proceed to our main topic. To interpret measures of positions, we need to be familiar with the quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. So let us recall the definition of quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. Quartiles are score points which divide a distribution into 4 equal parts. We have quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. Quartile 1 is equivalent to 25%. Quartile 2 is 50%. Quartile 3 is 75%. And quartile 4 is a total of 100%. So, using the definition of quartiles, we can interpret the given data. Now, let us have an example. Example number 1. Maria V says the entrance exam of Mabini National High School is so difficult. There were 500 test takers, including her. Her score is 60 out of 80. Her score belongs to the first quartile. Question. Would you agree with Maria Fe that the test is difficult? Let us answer these guide questions to help you understand the question and interpret the data easily. Guide questions. Number 1. If the passing was 75%, would she have passed the test? So, let us compute for her equivalent grade, and that is to divide her raw score by 80 times 100%. Equivalent grade. 60 divided by 80 times 100% is equal to 75%. So, if the passing was 75% and Mariafe got the score of 75%, therefore, she passed the test. Guide question number 2. About what percentage of test takers passed or failed the test? So, 75% passed the test and only 25% failed the test. Guide question number 3. Did most of the class pass or fail? Since 75% of the class passed, so majority of the class passed. Now, let us go back to the question. Question. Would you agree with Mariafe that the test is difficult? Based on our answer in the guide questions, we can say that no. We would not agree with Mariafe that the test is difficult since 75% of the students passed and only 25% of the class have failed. Now, we can conclude that the test is not difficult but is easy. I hope that you have learned something. For now, let us have a break for some reminders from Z Radio, Z-Eskwela 88.5. Do not go away, my dear learners. We are not yet done with our lesson. We will still talk about how to interpret deciles and percentiles when we get back. Just stay tuned and don't go away. Bye!
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Welcome back, grade 10 learners. Now, let us continue our discussion. Please do take note and listen carefully, my dear grade 10 learners, as we will continue our lesson for today. Let us now have the definition of deciles. Deciles are the scores points which divide a distribution into 10 equal parts. We have decile 1, decile 2, decile 3, decile 4, decile 5, decile 6, decile 7, decile 8, decile 9, and decile 10. Decile 1 is equivalent to 10%, decile 2, 20%, decile 3, 30%, decile 4, 40%, decile 5, 50%, decile 6, 60%, decile 7 is 70%, decile 8 is 80%, decile 9 is 90%, and decile 10 is equal to a total of 100%. So, using the definition of deciles, we can interpret the given data. Now, let us have an example. Example number 2. Mr. Cruz gave a test to his students. Ayan finished their test in 40 minutes. This time is the second decile of the allotted time. Question: what does this mean? Let us answer these guide questions to help you understand the question and interpret the data easily. Guide question number 1. What percentage of the students have finished their test in less than 40 minutes? Since 40 minutes is located at the second decile of the allotted time, then the percentage of the students who have finished the test in less than 40 minutes is equal to 20%. Guide question number 2. What percentage of the students have finished the test in more than 40 minutes? So to get the percentage of the students who have finished the test in more than 40 minutes, we have to subtract 20% by 100%. So 100% minus 20% is equal to 80%. Therefore, there are 80% who have finished their test in more than 40 minutes. Now, let us go back to the question. Question: what does this mean? This means that a low decile is considered good because it means that Ayan finished the test in a short period of time. Now, let us have our next example. Example number 3. Razel is a secretary in one big company in Mabini. Her salary is 40,000 pesos and in the 7th decile. Should Razel be glad about her salary or not? Explain your answer. Let us answer these guide questions to help you understand the question and interpret the data easily. Guide questions. What percentage of the employee has a salary of which is less than 40,000 pesos? Since Razel's salary is equal to 40,000 pesos and it is located at the 7th decile, then it means 7th decile is equal to 70%. So, the percentage of the employee which has a salary less than 40% is 70%. Guide question number 2. What percentage of the employee has a salary of which is greater than 40,000 pesos? So, the percentage of the salary which is less than 40,000 is 70%. To get the percentage of the employee that has a salary greater than 40,000 pesos, we will just subtract 100% by 70%. So, 100% minus 70% is equal to 30%. Therefore, the percentage of the employee that has a salary greater than 40,000 pesos is equal to 30%. Now, let us go back to the question. Question: should Razel be glad about her salary or not? Explain your answer. So Razel should be glad because 70% of the employees receive a salary that is less than or equal to her salary. And only 30% of the employees receive a salary that is greater than her salary. Now, let us talk about the definition of percentiles. Percentiles are the score points which divide a distribution into 100 equal parts. We have P10 for 10%, P20 for 20%, P30 30%, P40 40%, P50 50%, P60 60%, P70 70%, P80 80%, percentile 90 or 90%, and percentile 100 or 100%. So, using the definition of percentiles, we can interpret the given data. Now, let us have an example. Example number 4. In a group of 19, you and some grade 10 students are ranked according to your height. You are the 80th percentile. Question: how many students are taller than you, granting nobody is as tall as you? First, let us locate the position of the score in the distribution by using the formula. P sub k is equal to k over 100 times the quantity n plus 1. So P80 equals 80 over 100 times the quantity 19 plus 1. P80 is equal to 4 over 5 times 20. So percentile 80 is equal to 16. So let us illustrate this using this table. So you are in the 16th position among the 20 students. Let us answer these guide questions to help you understand the question and interpret the data easily. Guide question number 1. What percentage of the students are as tall as or shorter than you? Since you are the 80th percentile, so the students who are as tall as you or shorter than you is equal to 80%. So 80% of the students are as tall as you or shorter than you. Guide question number 2. What percentage of the students are as tall as or taller than you? So, to get the answer, you just need to subtract 100% by 80%. So, 100% minus 80% is equal to 20%. Therefore, 20% of the students are as tall as you or taller than you. Now, let us go back to the question. Question: how many students are taller than you, granting nobody is as tall as you? So, you are in the 16th position. So, the students that is taller than you is at the right side of the given table. So, there are 4 students that are taller than you. I hope you learned something from our discussion. When we get back, we will have a generalization of the topic. I will also give some items in your modules which you will answer on your own. Let us have a break again for some reminders. But don't go away, my dear grade 10 learners, here on Z-Radio Z-Eskwela 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Bye!
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
We are back, grade 10 learners. You have now reviewed and learned more about quartile, decile, and percentile. Also, you have learned how to interpret measures of positions, the quartile, decile, and percentile. Let us go back and define what is quartile, decile, and percentile. Quartiles are score points which divide a distribution into 4 equal parts. Deciles are the score points which divide a distribution into 10 equal parts. Now, percentiles are the score points which divide a distribution into 100 equal parts. Remember, provide guide questions if you encounter interpretation of measures of positions. It will help you in simplifying the question in every problem. As for our assessment, please continue to answer all the exercises in your Mathematics 10 module for quarter 3. Try to answer the activities honestly, then check them using the answer key provided to you. Be patient enough and do take time. Take some break and rest. Then, use what you have learned today to answer the task given to you by your respective teachers in the weekly home learning plan. Be sure to submit your output to your mathematics teachers on Friday. To all the listeners out there, especially to the Mathematics 10 learners with their parents, thank you so much for being with me and learning while being safe with your family. Again, this is Sir Julius Ernest R. Miranda of Mabini National High School. Be with us again next time as we tackle more Mathematics 10 topics here on Z-Radio 88.5. Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw. Bye!
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive and Technical Working Committee. The school's division superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. Curriculum Implementation Division OIC Chief, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Program Director, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Assistant Program Director, Noemi P. Canales. Members, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opena, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, Dr. Andy P. Cabodok, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Ryan Villanueva, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard D. Apit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Production and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judiland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolivar, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen C. Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo C. Gutierrez Jr., Jade Karen R. Arais, Eliza May Garsuta, Sedi S. Caballero, and Jane S. Caballero. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here at Z-Radio 88.5, ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw.
Yan, hello mga kasi, we are back po and we have just witnessed our second lesson presentation for today's episode. Ayan, oras na to karon, it's already 11:26 na sa buntag, again alas 11:26 ng atong oras. And time check sa ito gihapon ka nato ni Vice Governor Maria Carmen Zamora. So, back to our second lesson presentation, atin pong napag-usapan alang sa ito ang grade 10 mathematics ang how to interpret measure of a position. So, nais po nating pasalamatan at i-congratulate si Teacher Julius Ernest Miranda, isang Teacher 1 po mula sa Mabini National High School. Congratulations also sa lahat ng ating mga grade 10 learners nga nakatuto karon, nakapaminaw o nakasabot sa ato ang lesson alang sa ato ang Mathematics 10. Ayan, so sa atong mga dear learners, once again, we are encouraging you po to notify us with your attendance. Ang ating link ay naka-flash sa ating screen, nakapin po sa ating mga comment boxes. So for our attendance link for today, it's https://tinyurl.com/Radyo Z-Eskwela June 15. Ayan, sa mga ka-Z-Eskwela, kayo'y nakatutok pa rin po sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Siguradong masaya. Once again, our program is atid po sa atin ng DepEd Division of Davao de Oro in partnership with the Z-Radio 88.5. Ayan, so maayong morning no sa atong mga ka-Z-Eskwela, mga zuking listeners. Labaw na sa mga nasa ilahang mga panimalay karon. sa atong mga madlang nanay, madlang ate diha nga busy na kaayo sa pagpangandam alang sa ato ang paniud to, no. Ayan, maayong pagsikay-sikay ninyo diha. Thank you so much for always listening sa ato ang programa. Ayan, so manatili pa rin po kayo naka-tune in mga ka-Z-Eskwela. We're done with our first 2 lesson presentations. Mamaya naman po with Sir Drew Manuel, atin pong pag-uusapan ang grade 11 statistics and probability. Ang ating topic will be test, statistic, value, population, proportion. At para po sa ating grade 12 basic calculus naman po, pag-uusapan natin ang chain rule and implicit differentiation. So lahat lang yan, tumutok po kayo dito sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. 11:29 na po, and allow me to say hi sa kung mga kaubanan diha sa Cao National High School, most especially sa nagpa-shoutout gyud nga naka-tune in naminaw karon to Sir Jordan Gutchoco, to Ma'am Mary Ann Gutchoco. Ayan, hello sa inyo diha sa mga naka-on-site karon, to Ma'am Feby Cubio, Sir Christopher Nestal, Ma'am Mary Joy Alcocer, Ma'am Alma Joy Ongayo, to Ma'am Ingrid Cortez. Ayan, hello po sa inyo dyan. Of course, to Ma'am Catherine Rosquita, to Ma'am Chris Barnido, to Ma'am Lordy Bless Failagon, to Ma'am Daisy Obera. Ayan, good morning sa inyong lahat dyan. Ang pingats, good mo kanunay. And of course, to my district head, to Ma'am Rosario A. Nonyasa. Ayan, hello Ma'am Rose, good morning po sa inyo. Okay, so manatili lang pong nakatunin mga ka-Z-Eskwela sa inyong paboritong programa po. And tayo po'y magbabalik makatapos ang ilang paalala.
Z-Radio! 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 Z-Radio!
Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw.
Katambalan ng pag-ahon, isang bansang puso ay pinag-iisa.
Nang diin, lahat tayo'y uunlad at aangat.
Yan tayo, kabrigada, diwa ng bayanihan, atin ang nagkasimula. Man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani kabrigada, lahat ang ikawin gawin, di ka tayo kayang buhatin. Ito ang pusong brigada, paala'y pinapaganda. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo.
Paalan, tinatawag na tahanan.
Aalagaan, patuloy pagyamanin, kulay at tinig, panatilihin natin.
Ito lang,
Kapit lang,
sama-sama,
walang iwanan,
mananatiling magkasangga.
langit ay kakampirin natin. Ano man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani kabrigada, lahat ay kayang gawin, di ka tayo kayang buhatin. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo. Walang iwanan tayo.
Pre, unsa din ang 88.5?
Z-Radio,
Unsa man po ng Z-Radio?
88.5.
Ah, kuyawa, oy!
Ma 88.5 o Z-Radio man, kamo naminaw sa Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, Z-Radio 88.5.
Adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong kuyaw. Para sa Bulawan na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawan na pagsibya, Z-Radio. Sugata ang adlaw with a smile. Tune in na sa radio, in alive. Bisan na sa man good, listen to the music and it feels so good. Ay gundang ihangtot, di papuntagan pero lingaw man pod. Sa balay man o trabaho, bisan na sa man ka mo adto. Giving you the best music, diri lang sa Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili sa Z-Radio, tagaan mong lingaw. Kay giving you the best music and everything, that's what make us proud. So turn your radio up, don't stop, chillin' while tuning sa radio. All day, all night, dito yun lang sa Z-Radio. Isano ka sa pakapadulong, sa balay man o trabaho. Giving you the best music and everything, dito lang sa Z-Radio. Kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio.
Ang inyong bagong Z-Radio may application na. Mag-download sa Android App Store ug Z-Radio application aron masking asa ka man mo adto, Luzon, Visayas ug Mindanao o masking naka sa Zimbabwe. Makapaminaw ka sa Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, Z-Radio 88.5.
Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio.
State of the Province. State of the Province. Mga katikaran, kalambuan, news and current affairs ug uban pang mga nagunang panghitabo sa Davao de Oro Province sa pagdumala ni Governor J.V. Tyrone Uy, ilalom sa mas gipakusog nga serbisyong walang iwanan, aksyon agad, oro mismo. Inyong mabati matag adlawng Lunes alas 9 hangtod alas 10 sa buntag dinhi lang sa inyong paboritong sibiyahanan, ang Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, Z-Radio 88.5 FM sa dial sa inyong mga radyo. Busa, paminaw na, mag-SOP na kada Lunes. State of the Province. State of the Province.
Ang programang maghatod og good vibes ug mga inspirasyon sa matag pamilya, kauban si Mari Vice Governor Maricar Zamora. Saire Mare, paminaw kada Martes alas 8 hangtod alas 10 sa buntag. Saire Mare sa Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Saire Mare.
Z-Radio 88.5.
Laging handa. Laging handa. Bahatag tuyot, sunog, lindol, bagyo. Mga kalamidad na likas sa ating mundo. Napapahamak ang buhay at kabuhayan. Kaya naman kailangan ng paghandaan.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Laging handa.
Kalamidad ay maaasahang darating.
Sa di inaasahang oras,
Kaya naman hindi na dapat hintayin. Unahan na habang di pa natataranta.
maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na,
kapaligiran? Saan ka ba nakatira? Diyan ba ay bumabaha? Tuwing gamot pagkain, kumot pang sindi, first aid kit, mga gamit panligtas ng buhay dapat mabitbit. At sakaling lumindol o sumabog ang duga, meron bang matagdaanan palayo sa kasawian? Panahon na ay malupit at ang hangin hagupit, mabuti na lang na tayo ay laging nakahanda.
Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Education with the support of World Vision Development Foundation.
Sabay na babangon, sama-samang ahon, ihanda ang sarili sa hamon. Ipapipigil sa pagsulong sa kinabukasan ng katuon, para sa di kalidad na edukasyon.
Eskwela na naman, sa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang face-to-face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Kristiyano at katutubo, isang hanggarin saan patungo. Ipagpatuloy pag-aaral mo, tagumpay ay naghihintay sa'yo.
Balik eskwela na naman, sa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face-to-face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo.
Isang alang-alang natin ang ating kaligtasan, sa bawat oras at panahon, magpakailanman. Hangat palagi ng ating paaralan, ang matuto, gayon din maging ligtas ang kabataan. Tayo ay magkaisa, halina't sama-sama, kasali lahat, kasama lahat, para sa lahat. Pilipinas, maghanda ka na, balik eskwela na, tara. Tayong lahat, sabay-sabay, pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face-to-face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong
Magbayanihan na, magbayanihan na. Bayanihan, pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian. Tatag at tibay, sinasabuhay, galak sa puso ay walang kapantay. Panahon na naman ang brigada, pagbigkisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, brigada, eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada, eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Ikaw ako, tayong lahat, hawak kamay, sabay-sabay, kapit bisig, buong bayan. Tara na, kumilos na. Tulong-tulong sa pagsulong, hatid na kalidad sa edukasyon. Sa kabataan, saya at dunong, buong madla sabay na aahon. Panahon na naman ng brigada, pagbigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, brigada, eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada, eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Brigada, magbayanihan na. Magbayanihan na.
Hoy, tara, magklase na ta! Tara, tara! Sige, sige! Let's go!
Kunin na ang radyo, hanapin ang Z-Radio. Halika na at makinig, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhan bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Umulan man umaraw, edukasyo'y susulong. Kaya halika na, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela.
Handog ng DepEd Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya!
Let's go!
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive and Technical Working Committee. The School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. Curriculum Implementation Division OIC Chief, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Program Director, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Assistant Program Director, Noemi P. Canales. Members, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opena, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, Dr. Andy P. Cabodok, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Ryan Villanueva, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard D. Apit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Production and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judiland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen C. Manuel, Irene Leia C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Lanara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo C. Gutierrez Jr., Jade Karen R. Arais, Eliza May Garsuta, Sedi S. Caballero, and Jane S. Caballero. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here at Z Radio 88.5, ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Tingog Party List, Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Mabanglo Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, Re-Ing Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Bertodazo, Apex Mining Company Incorporated, and Icon Builders and Supply.
Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa iyo. Saludo, saludo ako sa iyo. Di mo alintana mga batikos at pangungutya, lalong-lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya. Ika'y di sumusuko, lumalaban at nangangako, maihatid pa rin ang serbisyong totoo. Para sa kabataan, ginagawa ang lahat, maibigay lang ang edukasyong karapat-dapat. Kaya't ang awit kong ito ialay ko sa'yo. Deped ako'y saludo sa'yo, katapatan mo sa Pilipino. Ngayong kaarawan mo, tanggapin mo ang pagpupugay ko. O deped ako'y saludo sa'yo. Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa iyo. Ika'y pinangungunahan ng isang superwoman, walang iba, Madam Leonor Briones lang naman. Sa ngalan ng serbisyo, dedikasyon sa trabaho, pagmamahal ng isang ina, nararamdaman ko. Ikaw ang humuhubog sa aming kinabukasan, laging inuuna ang kapakanan ng kabataan. Kaya't ang awit kong ito ialay ko sa'yo. Deped ako'y saludo sa'yo, katapatan mo sa Pilipino. Ngayong kaarawan mo, tanggapin mo ang pagpupugay ko. O deped ako'y saludo sa'yo. Saludo, saludo,
Kini ang Siguradong Lingaw,
Siguradong lingaw,
Siguradong Kuyaw,
siguradong kuyaw.
88.5 Z-Radio.
Adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong kuyaw. Para sa bulawanon nga probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa bulawanon nga pagsibya, Z-Radio.
We are back po mga ka-Z-Eskwela. Oras na to karon. It's already 11:55 ng umaga. Again, alas 11:55 na ang atong oras karon. Time check is atod gihapon ka nato sa Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated o Maverick Builders Incorporated. Ayan, so once again, we're done with our first two lesson presentations. We're done with our Mathematics 9 po. Ang atin pong napag-usapan ay ang Pythagorean Theorem. Kasama po si Teacher Thelma B. Nanali. And we're done also with our grade 10 mathematics po. The topic was about how to interpret measures of positions. Kasama naman po si Teacher Julius. So mamaya po kasama niyo po si Sir Drew Manuel. Ang mga natitira po nating lesson presentations ay para po sa ating mga senior high school students. Kaya naman tumutok na po kayo. And hopefully nakapaniud to na ang tanan. Labaw na ato ang mga dear learners. Ayan, sa atong mga Zuking listeners, happy lunchtime po sa inyo. Don't skip your meal at magpakabusog po kayo. So once again po sa ating pagpapatuloy, mamaya makakasama niyo po si Sir Drew Manuel para po sa ating grade 11 statistics. Ang dapat niyo pong abangan na topic will be about the test, statistic value, population, proportion. At para sa ating grade 12 basic calculus naman po, ang chain rule and implicit differentiation. Ayan. So tumutok pa rin po kayo sa inyong paboritong programa. Ito po ang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Siguradong masaya. And before ako magpaalam, nais ko lang pong batiin at pasalamatan once again ang ating mga program sponsors. Hello po to Metro Gear Construction Corporation. We also have NAN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Maze Enterprises Incorporated, Wing Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Counselor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertudazo, Acon Builders and Supply, Apex Mining Company Incorporated, and Pahati Construction. Ayan sila po ang ating mga program sponsors. Hello po sa inyo mga ma'am and sir. Isang magandang araw at muli maraming salamat po for all the love and support para ning atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. So once again, dear learners, hopefully padala na kayo ng inyong mga responses po para sa ating attendance for today. Ang ating link naka-flash po yan sa ating mga screen. Nakapi naman po sa ating mga comment boxes. So for our attendance link for today is https://tinyurl.com/radyo-z-eskwela June 15. Yan, magpapaalam na po ako. Maraming thank you po for being with me for the first 2 hours ng ating programa. Wala pa ring lipatan, manatiling naka-tune in sa inyong paboritong radio station. Ito po ang Z-Radio 88.5. Ang istasyong Siguradong Lingaw o Siguradong Kuyaw. Once again, musunod na si Sir Drew Manuel alang sa atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Masaya. So this has been Teacher Maymay Rasma po. Kasama po ang ating VMix operator Teacher Tata Acosar. Maraming salamat once again ang pingat sa mga zilingan. Ug atang ikaw ninyo ug maapuhon mobalik ko alang ning atong programa. So God bless us all. Ug sa kanunay po dalaygon ang Dios.
Smile, tune in na sa radio, been alive. Bisan na sa man good, listen to the music and it feels so good. Ay gundang ihangtot, di papuntagan pero lingaw man pod. Sa balay man o trabaho, bisan na sa man ka mo adto. Giving you the best music, diri lang sa Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong kuyaw. Para sa bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa bulawanon na pasilya, Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili Sa Z-Radio, tagaan mong lingaw kay giving you the best music and everything, that's what make us proud. So turn your radio up, don't stop, chillin' while tune in sa radio. All day, all night, dito yun lang sa Z-Radio. Minsan ugas sa pakapadulong, sa balay man o trabaho, giving you the best music and everything, dito lang sa Z-Radio. Kay ang atlang siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw, para sa Bulawan na probinsya. Z-Radio, sa Bulawan na Pasibya. Z-Radio, kay ang atlang siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw, para sa Bulawan na probinsya. Z-Radio, sa Bulawan na Pasibya. Z-Radio, kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw, para sa Bulawan na probinsya. Z-Radio, sa Bulawan na Pasibya. Z-Radio, kay ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw, para sa Bulawan na probinsya. Z-Radio, sa Bulawan na Pasibya. Z-Radio.
Z-Radio 88.5.
Alas 12:02 na mga ka-Z-Eskwela, and our time check is brought to us by our Vice Governor of the Province of Davao de Oro, Honorable Maria Carmen Zamora. Maayong pagpaniuto sa atong tanan mga ka-Z. Aniyan na punta karon sa atong pagpadayon sa atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Siguradong masaya. Dito lang yan sa atong paboritong istasyon, ang Z-Radio 88.5 FM. Ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. My name is Teacher Drew Manuel po. And makakasama niyo po ako for the last 2 hours of today's episode. In our program po mga ka-Z, ay hatid sa atin ang ating Department of Education Division of Davao de Oro, and of course, in partnership with our number 1 station dito sa atong probinsya, ang Z-Radio 88.5 FM. Ayan, so nasimulan na ni Teacher Maymay Resma, ang chinitang maestra ng nabunturan, ang ato ang first 2 hours of our episode. And gihatag niya ang first 2 featured lesson presentation for today, which is about for grade 9 mathematics and grade 10 mathematics. And for now po mga ka-Z, we do have 2 more lesson presentation. And I'm sure all of our learners across the province of Davao de Oro kay abtik na o excited na para sa atuang pagpadayon sa atong programa. Of course, antabayan nyo yung grade 11 statistics and probability. And on the last hour for our episode for today will be grade 12 basic calculus. Maayong pagpaniuto sab sa ato mga personahin din na sa division office, nagipangunahan sa atuang SDS Ma'am Eufemia Tigamutin ma'am, maayong udto. And also sa ato ang ASDS Dr. Mel Handayan, o sa tanan na to mga EPS, mga department heads, and of course to my fellow teachers across the province of Davao de Oro, maayong pagpaniod to. And ako pong i-greet ang ato mga parents and guardians. I'm sure na naminaw po ug nagtan-aw po sa atong sa atong programa o sa atong mga zuking tigpaminaw kung asa man mo karon. I am sure and I hope na amo sa maayong panglawas og maniud to na jud kay alas 12 na. And importante jud na mukaon og sakto kay ato ang lawas kapital. Well anyway, maayong utusab sa atong mga Radyo Z-Eskwela program sponsors. Thank you so much sa makanunayang suporta sa atong programa. And of course, aside sa atong on-air din sa atong paboritong istasyon, we do have our cross-line streaming gamit ang Facebook application. All you have to do is to like and to follow and subscribe all our FB pages such as the Z-Radio 88.5, DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro, and the Radyo Z-Eskwela DepEd Davao de Oro. With those FB pages po mga ka-Z, pwedeng ipadangat inyong mga pag-greetings. And of course, mga comments, suggestions, and recommendations with regards sa atong programa. So, andam jud mi mubasa sa inyong mga pa-shoutouts mga ka-Z-Eskwela. So, hulaton jud na mo na. And of course, if you missed this episode, all you have to do is to like and subscribe also our YouTube channel, which is the Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Again, our YouTube channel is Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Diyan po nakalagay yung lahat ng ating mga lesson presentations. Gunad pa sa pag-start sa ato ang programa sa school year 2020-2021. Ugaalang po sa itong tanan learners mga ka-Z-Eskwela. So we are inviting you to notify us with your attendance for today by filling out our attendance date for today, which is https://tinyurl.com/Radyo Z-Eskwela June 15. Again, ang atuang link mga ka-Z-Eskwela for our attendance naka-flash yan sa ating mga FB screens, and at the same time po mga ka-Z, nakapin din yan sa ating mga comment box sections to our different FB pages. Alright, it's already 12:06 na po mga ka-Z. So, di na ta maglangay pa. Ato na ihatag atong third lesson presentation for today, which is about grade 11, Statistics and Probability. And topic dito will be Test, Statistics Value, Population Proportion. Makakasama natin dito bilang content presenter, isang Special Science Teacher 1, coming from Pantukan National High School Senior High School Department. We have Sir Jester E. Pescadero. Kasama naman yung kanyang Creative Resource Method Developer, isang teacher too, also from the said school. We have Sir Jeffrey T. Alfonso. Alright, so join us today and learn significantly on these math-amazing lessons together with your math-amazing teachers. Ito pa rin ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Kaya naman, tara na, magklase na ta!
It's a Math Terrific Tuesday, grade 11 learners throughout Davao de Oro. How was your day? It's great. Today's discussion is anchored on the most essential learning competency, number 13 and 14 of your fourth quarter for probability and statistics subject. Are you ready to learn? That's great. By the way, together with you today is Sir Jester E. Pescadero, and together with me is Sir Jeffrey T. Alfonso from Pantukan National High School Integrated Senior High School. We are going to discuss today a topic, Test Statistic Value for Population Proportion. The objective for today's session are as follows. First, compute for the test statistic value of population proportion. And second, draws conclusion about the population proportion based on the test statistic value and the rejection region. To ignite your mind, let us test first your knowledge with regards to proportion. Direction. Study the question, then write the letter of the correct answer. For number 1, the test statistic value for population proportion can be solved using the blank. A. Means of proportion. B. T-test for proportion. C. Variance of proportion. Or D. Z-test of proportion. The answer is D. Z-test of proportion. To get this statistic value for population proportion, we can use Z-test of proportion. Although mean of proportion is also a test statistic value, but it is weak value to represent the proportion. Number 2. What is the formula for Z-test for proportion? A. Z is equals to P hat minus P sub 0 over the square root of P times Q over N. B. Z is equals to P sub 0 minus P hat over the square root of P times Q over N. C. Z is equal to P hat minus P sub 0 over the square root of N over P times Q. D. Z is equals to P sub 0 minus P hat over the square root of N over P times Q. The answer is letter A. Z is equal to P hat minus P sub 0 over the square root of P times Q over N. Number 3. The goal of hypothesis testing is to make a judgment about the difference between the blank and the blank. 1. Hypothesized population parameter. 2. Population mean. 3. Sample mean. 4. Sample statistics. A. 1 and 2. B. 2 and 3. C. 3 and 4. Or D. 1 and 4. The correct answer is D. Conducting hypothesis testing aims to determine or make judgment whether our hypothesized population parameter differ from the sample mean. 4. When is the null hypothesis rejected? A. If the test statistic value falls within the rejection region. B. If the test statistic value does not fall within the rejection region. C. If the test statistic value falls to the left of the rejection region. Or letter D. If the test statistic value falls to the right of the rejection region. The correct answer is letter A. To reject the null hypothesis, our computed test statistic value must be at the rejection region of a certain test. Number 5. A study found that 68% of population owns a home. In a random sample of 150 households, 92 own a home. At the alpha is equal to 0.01 level, is there enough evidence to reject the claim? Choose the correct hypothesis. A. Null hypothesis stated that population proportion is equal to 0.68, and alternative hypothesis state that population proportion is not equal to 0.68. Letter B. Null hypothesis state that the mean is equal to 0.68 and alternative hypothesis state that the mean is not equal to 0.68. Letter C. Null hypothesis state that population proportion is equal to 0.68 and alternative hypothesis state that the population proportion is greater than 0.68. Or letter D, null hypothesis state that the population proportion is equal to 0.68 and the null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis state that the population proportion is less than 0.68. The correct answer is letter A. Always remember that in testing a hypothesis, an alternative and a null hypothesis must already exist. Thus, to formulate this, we will investigate the events of the problem. In this case, since the proportion of population is given, then our hypothesis revolves around it. Remember also that in stating null hypothesis, it indicates that there is no difference among the data. That's why, based on our answer, the population proportion is just the same as the sample proportion. In contrary, the alternative hypothesis which state that there is a difference between the two proportions, that's why our answer state that the population proportion is not equal to the sample proportion. Did you energize with that activity? That's good. This time, we'll start digging concepts of proportion. Have with you your module, a pen, and paper. as well as a scientific calculator so that you are guided throughout our discussion today. When we say proportion, it is a fraction expression where the favorable response is in the numerator and the total number of respondents is in the denominator. The basic operation involved is division. Thus, the result is a decimal value that can also be expressed as percent. For example, on a typical morning, Anthony asks TV viewers if they believe or do not believe the great escape story of a group of soldiers from a perceived adversary. At the end of the show, he reported that 68% of the respondents believed the story. What does the report mean to you? What do you understand by the expression 68%? Just comment down below your thoughts, especially those who watch our Facebook Live. Well, to enlighten your mind, this is how it explained. The percentage expression 68% is also called a proportion. Percentage are prepared when reporting frequencies of subsets of population. But in computing, percentage are first converted proportion in decimal form. Proportion also represent probabilities. So, the probability that all TV viewers favor the Great Escape story is 0.68. Take note, proportion can be obtained from sample or population. To facilitate our discussion today, kindly bear these symbols in your mind. N is equal to the number of observations in a simple random sample. P hat is equal to the sample proportion. P is equal to the population proportion. P hat is equal to the number of desired outcomes over the number of sample elements. In symbol, that is, P hat is equal to X over N. Q hat is equal to the unfavorable response and is equal to 1 minus P hat, where X is the number of sample elements that possess the desired characteristic and X is the sample size, and N is the sample size. Now, let us try to apply that concept with this example. Get your pen and paper, then answer this one. In a survey of 300 individuals, 128 like to watch movies on big screen. Estimate the true population proportion P and Q, where P hat is the proportion of those who like to watch movies from the big screen based on the sample. But before answering this one, let me inform you that there are three characteristics of sampling distribution of P. The first one is, the mean of the sample distribution of P hat is P. That is, P hat is the unbiased estimator for P. Number 2. The standard deviation of the sampling distribution of P hat is square root of P times Q over N. That is, standard deviation of P is equal to the square root of P times Q over N, where P is equal to 1 minus Q. And number 3, for large sample, the sampling distribution of P hat is approximately normal. A sample size is considered large if the interval P hat plus minus 3 times standard deviation does not include 0 or 1. Before going to our example, let's have a short break. So don't go away, we will be right back after some commercial.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
And now, we are back. Are you still there? Now, let us continue. Going back to our example earlier, we are asked to determine the point estimate for population proportion of those individuals who watch movies on big screen, as well as those who didn't. Remember that in characteristic number 1, it states that P hat is unbiased estimator for P. Therefore, all we need to do is to find the value of P hat. Thus, P hat is equal to x over n, and that is equal to 128 over 300, and that gives us 0.43. Thus, the population proportion of P is 0.43. Since we have already a value of P, it's easier for us now to solve for Q. Given that Q is equal to 1 minus P, so that is 1 minus 0.43 is equals to 0.57. Then Q is equal to 0.57. Any clarifications? Pin it in the comment section or text it at our hotline number so that we can entertain it later on. Point estimate is a weak representation of population from its sample proportion. There is still an estimate which gives us a chance that the true value will be get, and that is interval estimate. As with the estimate of population mean, we want to ensure that our estimate based on a sample contains the true value of population. Just like the mean, we can also form confidence interval about the population proportion P in a manner analogous to what used for the estimation of the population parameter mu. We can also assign a probability that the interval contains a population proportion. The interval depends on sampling distribution of P hat. That is, if we are to draw random samples over and over again, each time calculating a new estimate P hat, then the frequency distribution of all the P hat value would be P. Thus, P hat is unbiased estimator of P. Recall that the standard deviation of sampling distribution of P hat is given by square root of P times Q over N, where P is equal to 1 minus Q by characteristic number 2. So the margin of error E for the confidence interval of a population proportion is equal to the Z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of P times Q over N, or that is approximately equal to Z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of P hat Q hat over N for sample. Thus, the formula for computing a large sample confidence interval for a population proportion P is P minus the Z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of P hat Q hat over N to P plus Z sub alpha over 2 times square root of p hat q hat over n, or that is equal to p hat plus minus z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of p hat q hat over n. Points to remember. Alpha is dependent on the level of confidence the proportion has been tested. If the level of confidence is not stated, then we will use alpha is equals to 0.05. Z sub alpha over 2, called the confidence coefficient, and is also dependent on what level of confidence the proportion been tested. Z table is required in order to get its exact value. But since there are 3 confidence values that are commonly used, you can familiarize it then. For example, if it is for 90% confidence, Z sub alpha over 2 is equal to 1.645. When it is 95% confidence, then the Z sub alpha over 2 is equals to 1.96. For 99% confidence, the Z sub alpha over 2 is equal to 2.58. Now, let us try. In a certain school, a survey was conducted to determine the proportion of students who want to enroll STEM. If 368 out of 850 students said yes, with 95% confidence, what interpretation can we make regarding the probability that all students in that school want to enroll STEM strand? First thing is to get first the point estimate. We will follow the steps for clearer understanding. Okay, for step 1, determine the population parameter of interest. So the parameter of interest is the mean proportion P of a student in a certain school who wants to enroll STEM strand. Next is to specify the confidence interval criteria. Check the assumption, determine the test statistic to be used to calculate the interval. So by the central limit theorem, the sample size of 850 is normally distributed. So the test statistic is proportion. Next is state the confidence level. It is stated that it is at 95% confidence, then the alpha is equal to 0.05. So the confidence coefficient is 1.96. Next is collect and present sample evidence. So that is x is equals to 368 and n is equals to 850. So the point estimate proportion is x over n, and that is equal to 368 over 850 and is equal to 0.43. Therefore, the point estimate is 0.43. Since we already know the point estimate of the given problem, we already know that the true value must lie within 0.43, but we are not sure for the interval. Thus, we will then compute the 95% confidence interval. We will again use table of steps for better understanding. Since we already know the point estimate of the given problem, we already know that the true value must lie within 0.43, but we are not sure for the interval. Thus, we will then compute the 95% confidence interval. We will again use table of steps for better understanding. So this is how to compute the interval estimate of population proportion. First is to find the Q hat. Remember that Q hat is equal to 1 minus P hat, and P hat is equal to 0.43, so that is 1 minus 0.43, and that is 0.57. Next is to substitute the values of n in the formula to find the maximum error, but first we will get the standard deviation. So the formula for standard deviation is the square root of P hat Q hat over n, equal to the square root of 0.43 times 0.57 over 850. So that is equal to 0.017. Next thing is to find the limits. For lower limit, that is p hat minus z sub alpha over 2 times the standard deviation. Remember that z sub alpha over 2 is dependent on the confidence level. Since it is 95%, so we can say that z sub alpha over 2 is equal to 1.96. So substituting all from the given or from the formula, so that is 0.43 minus 1.96 times the standard deviation, which is 0.017. So that gives us 0.43 minus 0.034. And that is equal to 0.396, or that is 39.6%. Next is to find the upper limit. The upper limit is given by p hat plus z sub alpha over 2 times the standard deviation. Using similar value, so that is 0.43 plus 1.96 times 0.017. That gives us 0.43 plus 0.034. And that is equal to 0.464 or 46.4%. Plus is to describe the result. So we can say that with 95% confidence, we can say that the interval from 39.6% to 46.4% contains the true percentage of all students who want to enroll STEM strand. Just be minded that it is not necessary that you create a table while solving the point estimate and interval estimate of proportion. We just did that so that we can understand better the process. This time, it is your time to shine. Given the situation, in a certain food stool, 278 out of 500 randomly selected consumers indicate their preference for a new kind of food combination. Use a 99% confidence interval to estimate the true proportion P of consumers who like the new food combination. Remember all the process and all the given. Then apply what you learned. The point estimate is x over n, so that is 278 over 500, and that is 0.556. Great. How about the confidence coefficient? Remember, we are using 99% confidence. So its confidence coefficient is 2.58. Very good. Next is the maximum error. The maximum error is a confidence coefficient multiplied to the standard deviation. So the standard deviation is square root of p hat q hat over n. So our maximum error is 0.022. That's great. How about its lower limit? Remember, the lower limit is p hat minus the error. That is 0.499 or 49.9%. Great. How about the upper limit? Remember, the upper limit is p hat plus the error. So that is 0.613 or 61.3%. Good. How can we describe the result? Well, we can say that with 99% confidence, the interval between 49.9% to 61.3% contains the true proportion of consumers who like the new food combination. Did you find it easy? Well, that's great. Do you have any clarifications? Feel free to ask. What concepts or topic did you find interesting in our discussion today? Comment down below, especially for those watching Facebook Live and use the hashtag #matgaling na ako. For a meanwhile, let's take a short break and be back for more.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
And we are back. How are you, student? Are you still good? Well, that's great. This time, we will have an evaluation for our learning session this afternoon. For number 1, estimate the interval of the population proportion from each of the following. Then interpret the result. Again, estimate the interval of the population proportion from each of the following, then interpret the result. We have A, X is equal to 500, N is equal to 812 at 95% confidence level. Again, X is equal to 500, N is equal to 812 at 95% confidence level. Letter B, X is equal to 523, N is equal to 972 at 90% confidence level. Again, X is equal to 523, N is equal to 972 at 90% confidence level. Okay, so are you done? Key for its correction. Okay, for letter A, the point estimate is 0.62. The interval estimate is at 58.7% to 65.3%. Did we have a similar answer? That's great. So its description is, with 95% confidence, the true value of proportion lies between 58.7% to 65.3%. Very good. For letter B, the point estimate is 0.54. Interval estimate is at 51.4% to 56.6%. Then it is described as, with 90% confidence, the true value of proportion lies between 51.4% to 56.6%. You did it great. Next, for number 2. Who knows the game Sepak? A physical education teacher sought to determine whether all Filipinos are familiar with the game. Among 1,500 respondents, 358 knew the game. Use 99% confidence to estimate the population proportion P. Okay, it's time for our answer. So the point estimate is 0.24. Then the interval estimate, that is at 21.2% to 26.8%. Then the interpretation, we can say that with 99% confidence, the true value of proportion of Filipinos that knows SIPA lies between 21.2% to 26.8%. You did it great. Pass that one together with your module in the next retrieval so that your teacher can commend your good work. That could be all for this afternoon. Have a blessed day and keep safe, everyone. This is again Sir Jester E. Pescadero, and with my material developer, Sir Jeffrey T. Alfonso. Thank you for listening, and to God be the glory.
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive and Technical Working Committee. The school's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. Curriculum Implementation Division OIC Chief, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Program Director, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Assistant Program Director, Noemi P. Canales. Members, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opena, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, Dr. Andy P. Cabodok, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Ryan Villanueva, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard D. Apit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Production and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judiland T. U, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen C. Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo C. Gutierrez Jr., Jade Karen R. Arais, Eliza May Garsuta, Sedi S. Caballero, and Jane S. Caballero. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here at Z Radio 88.5, ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw.
Siguradong lingaw.
Siguradong kuyaw.
Siguradong kuyaw.
88.5 Z Radio.
This is Z Radio 88.5.
Z Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw. Siguradong kuyaw.
Sabay na babangon, sama-samang ahon, ihanda ang sarili sa hamon. Ipakipigil sa pagsulong sa kinabukasan na katuon, para sa di kalidad na edukasyon.
Eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ang ay naghihintay sa'yo.
Balik eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong
Isang alang-alang natin ang ating kaligtasan, sa bawat oras at panahon, magpakailanman. Hangat palagi ng ating paaralan, ang matuto, gayon din maging ligtas ang kabataan. Tayo ay magkaisa, halina't sama-sama, kasali lahat, kasama lahat, para sa lahat. Pilipinas, maghanda ka na, balik eskwela na, tara. Tayong lahat, sabay-sabay,
pagkakaisa ay may lakas. Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo.
Katambalan ng pag-ahon, isang bansang puso ay pinag-iisa.
Nang diin, lahat tayo'y uunlad at aangat.
Yan tayo, kabrigada, diwa ng bayanihan, atin ang nagkasimula. Man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani kabrigada, lahat ang ikayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Ito ang pusong brigada, paalala ay pinapaganda. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo.
Paaralan, tinatawag na tahanan.
Aalagaan, patuloy pagyamanin, kulay at tinig, panatilihin natin.
Ito lang,
kapit lang,
sama-sama,
walang iwanan,
mananatiling magkasangga.
langit ay kakampirin natin. Ano man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani kabrigada, lahat ay kayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo. Walang iwanan tayo. Laging handa. Laging handa. Bahatag tuyot, sunog, lindol, bagyo, mga kalamidad na likas sa ating mundo. Napapahamak ang buhay at kabuhayan, kaya naman kailangan ng paghandaan.
Maging handa, maging alerto, tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging di inaasahang oras.
Kaya naman hindi na dapat hintayin. Unahan na habang di pa natataranta.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa.
Suriin mo mabuti ang iyong kapaligiran. Saan ka ba nakatira? Diyan ba ay bumabaha? Tuwing gamot pagkain, kumot pang sindi, first aid kit. Mga gamit panligtas ng buhay dapat mabitbit. At sakaling lumindol o sumabog ang bulkan, meron bang matagdaanan palayo sa kasawian? Panahon na ay malupit at ang hangin hagupit. Mabuti na lang na tayo ay laging nakahanda.
Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Education with the support of World Vision Development Foundation.
Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa'yo. Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa'yo. Di mo alintana mga batikos at pangungutya, lalong-lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya. Ika'y di sumusuko, lumalaban at nangangako, maihatid pa rin ang serbisyong totoo. Para sa kabataan, ginagawa ang lahat, maibigay lang ang edukasyong karapat-dapat. Kaya't ang awit kong ito ialay ko sa'yo. Deped ako'y saludo sa'yo sa katapatan mo sa Pilipino. Ngayong kaarawan mo, tanggapin mo ang pagpupugay ko. O deped ako'y saludo sa'yo. Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa'yo. Ika'y pinangungunahan ng isang superwoman. Walang iba, Madam Leonor Briones lang naman. Sa ngalan ng serbisyo, dedikasyon sa trabaho, pagmamahal ng isang ina, nararamdaman ko. Ikaw ang humuhubog sa aming kinabukasan, laging inuuna ang kapakanan ng kabataan. Kaya't ang awit kong ito ialay ko sa'yo. Deped ako'y saludo sa'yo sa katapatan mo sa Pilipino. Ngayong kaarawan mo, tanggapin
sa'yo. Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa'yo. Saludo, saludo, saludo ako sa'yo.
One station, all the hits.
Z Radio 88.5.
Oras nato karon, it's already 12:56 na po ng tanghali. And our time check is brought to us by, of course, our Vice Governor of the Province of Davao de Oro, Honorable Maria Carmen Zamora. Ngayon mga ka-Z-Eskwela, natapos na nating on air ang ating third lesson presentation for today, which is about the grade 11 Statistics and Probability, na may topic na Test, Statistics, Value, Population, Proportion. Ayan, so nais naming pasalamatan ang ating content presenter for this one, coming from Pantukan National High School, Senior High School Department, isang special science teacher, one na si Sir Jester E. Piscadero. Sir, thank you so much and congratulations. And also, congratulations din sa kanyang kasama na Creative Resource Material Developer, isang teacher too, also from Pantukan National High School, Senior High School Department. We have Sir Jeffrey T. Alfonso. Ayan mga ka-Z-Eskwela, 3 down, 1 more to go. At bago natin na ibigay sa ating mga grade 12 learners ang ating last lesson presentation for today, nais ko ring pasalamatan ng ating mga butihing Radyo Z-Eskwela program sponsors. We have Nuada Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mix Construction and Supply, Archicans Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corbata Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, and GP&H Construction Incorporated. Ayan, sila po ang ating mga program sponsors para sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Alright mga ka-Z-Eskwela, patuloy pa rin tayong makatutok at makinig sa ating mga programa for today. And we are cross-line stream gamit ang Facebook application. Sa mga wala pa naka-like, naka-follow, please follow our FB pages para dali ra mo ma-notify sa atong mga bagong mga lesson presentation din such as we have Z Radio 88.5, DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro, and the Radyo Z-Eskwela DepEd Davao de Oro. Ayan, so patuloy pa rin tayong sumuporta sa ating mga FB pages para mahatagan pa nato og maayong mga lesson presentations, not only the learners of our province of Davao de Oro but the entire learners sa ato ang nasod. Ayan, so if you missed this episode, worry no more mga ka-Z-Eskwela, since we do have our YouTube channel na Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Again, our YouTube channel is Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Ug alang usab sa atong mga learners, most especially sa atong grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 learners, for today, feel free to notify us with your attendance, which is, we are having our attendance link for today, which is the https://tinyurl.com/Radyo Z-Eskwela June 15. Ayan, so hintayin po namin yung mga inyong mga responses, since after sa ating programa, our SMPT will evaluate kung sino yung mga nag-register at nag-attendance sa ating link for today. Ayan, so patuloy pa rin tayong maghatag og mga komento og mga pa-shoutouts, and at the same time mga suggestions. Of course, andam jud bi sa inyong mga suggestions and recommendations para mas mapanindot pa ang atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela dinhi sa Z Radio 88.5 FM. And speaking of pa-shoutout mga ka-Z-Eskwela, nais kong patiin sina Sir Richard Consolacion, Rameses Guyo Pabiliar, Ira M. Villaver, Rio Carillo. We also have Rutzel Espinosa, Brenda Caspi Pamin of Nabunturan. We also have a grade 10 student of Nabunturan, Lency Labin, Amelia Raot Pa, Shihi-san. Ayan, so daghan kayong salamat sa inyong pagtanaw sa atong programa for today. And of course, katong wala pa nakahibalo natin, Radyo Z-Eskwela, a radio-based instruction of the Department of Education Division of Davao de Oro. So, sultiin na ninyo sila para mas madaghan pa ang makahibalo sa atong programa din because every day we are featuring 4 lesson presentations of different subject areas and at the same time subject year level. So, it's natay kinder up to senior high school. So, antabayan nyo po yan yung ating mga different lesson presentation every day. Since our program Radyo Z-Eskwela, madungog babati makita, adlang Lunes, Santo, Domingo, alas 10 hanggang alas 2 ng hapon. Ayan, it's already 1:01 na po mga ka-Z-Eskwela. And it's our time to feature our last lesson presentation for today. O kini alang sa itong mga grade 12 basic grade 12 learners, the subject na basic calculus. And the topic for this one is chain rule and implicit differentiation. And we will be joined by the content presenter for this one, isang teacher too from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School. We have Jessie Jem C. Celis, kasama ang kanyang creative resource material developer, na isang teacher 1 from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School. We have Sir Leo Aljan E. Padilla. Alright mga ka-Z-Eskwela, join us today and learn significantly on these math-amazing lessons together with your math-amazing teachers. Ito pa rin ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Only here sa Z Radio 80.5 FM. Estasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Kaya naman, tara na, magklase na ta.
Hello! Welcome back to Z-Eskwela of Davao de Oro, kung saan sigurado lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. This is Sir Jem C. Celis, your teacher from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School, Integrated Senior High School, Nabunturan West District. We are now on the 7th week of our lesson with the subject Basic Calculus. So, get your module, your paper, and your pen. Let's start. We're already done with optimization using calculus and higher ordered derivatives. Now, we'll be discussing the chain rule and implicit differentiation with the following objectives. At the end of the lesson, you'll be able to solve problems using the chain rule and illustrate implicit differentiation. Consider these following functions. Find the derivatives of f of x is equal to square root of quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. Solve this in just 30 seconds. Timer starts now. Time is up. Let's check your answer. Some of you will solve this using the power rule, which is derivatives of square of 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equal to 2 times quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4, which is incorrect. Power rule is not applicable in this function. But if we solve this way, adding square of 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 before deriving it, then that is right. So we have 9x to the power of 4 plus 4x squared plus 16 minus 12x cubed plus 24x squared minus 16x is equal to 9x to the power of 4 minus 12x cubed plus 28x squared minus 16x plus 16. Then derive, and we come up with 36x cubed minus 36 squared plus 56 minus 16, and that is correct. Or we can use the product rule. F of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 times 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. Hence, f prime of x, or derivative of f of x, is equal to quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 times the derivative of quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 plus quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 times the derivative of f of x is equal to quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. In that case, we are using the product rule. Either of the two methods are correct. You can use the first method or you can use the second method. What if this is the problem? F of x is equal to 200 quantity of 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. Thus, the last two methods will be doable. What do you think? Yes, it's doable, but it's a long way process. How about y is equal to sine 2x? In this case, we need to find the conversion of sine 2x in double trigonometric function formula. Sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cos x. Then, using the product rule, we have 2 sine x times negative sine x plus cos x times cos x. And 2 times cos squared x minus sine squared x. Then, using double trigonometric function conversion, we have derivative of y is equal to 2 cos 2x. You are right. In this lesson, you will learn a rule that will allow to differentiate a given function without having to perform any preliminary multiplication or apply any special function. The chain rule provides for a formula for the derivative of a composition of functions. Theorem 9, or theorem about chain rule, states that let f be a function differentiable at c, and let c and let g be a function differentiable at f of c. Then, the composition g composed of f of c is equal to g prime of f of c times f prime of c. Another way to state the chain rule, if y is a differentiable function of u defined by y is equal to f of u, and u differentiable function of x defined by q is equal to g of x. Then, y is differentiable function of x, and the derivative of y with respect to x given by dy over dx is equal to dy over du times du over dx. In words, the derivative of composition of functions is the derivative of the outer function evaluated at the inner function of times the derivative of the inner function. In our first example, f of x is equal to the square of 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. Find the derivative of f of x using chain rule. For the solution, we can rewrite y is equal to f of x is equal to square of 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 as y is equal to f of u. And this is equal to u squared, where u is 3x squared minus 2x plus 4, a differentiable function of x. Using the chain rule, we have f prime of x is equal to y prime, or dy over du times du times dx. Then dy over du is equal to 2u, while du over dx is equal to 6x minus 2. And we have 2u times quantity 6x minus 2. Substitute the value of u, and which is 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. We have 2 times quantity 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 times quantity 6x minus 2. Simplify, we come up with 36 cubed minus 36x squared plus 56x minus 16. And that will be the answer. Very good. For the second example, we have y is equal to sine 2x. Find the derivative of y using the chain rule. We can write y is equal to sine 2x as y is equal to f of u, where f of u is equal to sine u, and u is equal to 2x. Hence, the derivative of y, or y prime, is equal to dy over du times du over dx. dy over du is equal to cos u, while du over dx is equal to 2. Then, cos u times 2. Substitute the value of u and arrange according to order. We have 2 cos 2x, and that is the answer. Amazing! How about this example? Z is equal to 4 all over square of quantity a squared minus y squared, where a is real number. Notice that we can write z is equal to 4 all over square of a squared minus y squared, as z is equal to 4 times quantity a squared minus y squared to the power of negative 2. Then, we can use the chain rule. We have dz over dy is equal to 4 times negative 2 quantity of a squared minus y squared to the power of negative 2 minus 1 times d over dy of a squared minus y squared. After, we have negative 8 times quantity a squared minus y squared to the power of negative 3 times negative 2y. Simplify and we come up with 16y times quantity a squared minus y squared to the power of negative 3. Using inverse property of quality to make the exponent positive, we have dz over dy is equal to 16y all over quantity of a squared minus y squared to the power of 3. And that is the answer. Very good. For this moment, we'll write back after this break.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
We are back. Now, suppose we want to find the derivative of a power function of x. That is, we are interested in dx of f of x to the power of n. To derive a formula for this, we let y is equal to u to the power of n, where u is differentiable function of x given by u is equal to f of x. Then, by the chain rule, dy over dx is equal to dy over du times du over dx is equal to n times u to the power of n minus 1 times the f prime of x, or n quantity of f of x to the power of n minus 1 times f prime of f of x. Thus, this is called general power rule. For next example, we will use the generalized power rule. What is the derivative of y is equal to quantity 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 to the power of 5. The derivative of 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 to the power of 5 is equal to 5 times quantity 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 to the power of 5 minus 1 times the derivative of 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. Simplify and we have 5 times quantity 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 times 6x plus 4. You're doing great. Let's have More examples. Find dy over dx, where y is equal to square root of 3x cubed plus 4x plus 1. Multiply both sides by d over dx, and we have dy over dx is equal to 1/2 times 3x cubed plus 4x plus 1 to the power of 1/2 minus 1 times derivative of 3x cubed plus 4x plus 1 is equal to negative 1/2 times quantity of 3x cubed plus 4x plus 1 to the power of negative 1/2 times 9x squared plus 4. Using inverse property of quality, we come up with 9x squared plus 4 all over 2 times square root of 3x cubed plus 4x plus 1. Very good! Amazing! For our next example, solve this using generalized power rule. Find the derivative, or find dy over dx of y is equal to square of quantity sine 3x. Solve this in just 30 seconds. Timer starts now. Time is up. Let's check. Multiply both sides by d over dx. And we have dy over dx is equal to d over dx times square of quantity sine of 3x. Simplify, and 2 times quantity sine 3x to the power of 2 minus 1 times d over dx times sine 3x. This is equal to 2 sine 3x times cos 3x times d over dx of 3x. Simplify, and we have 2 times sine 3x times cos 3x times 3. And we come up with 6 sine 3x cos 3x. Wow, you're doing good. Let's have another one. Differentiate quantity of 3x squared minus 5 to the power of 3. Solve this in just 30 seconds. Timer starts now. Time is up. In this example, we can write in this notation d times quantity 3x squared minus 5 to the power of 3 all over dx, or we can write in this way: d over dx times quantity 3x squared minus 5 to the power of 3. Simplify, we have 3 times quantity 3x squared minus 5 to the power of 3 minus 1 times the derivative of quantity 3x squared minus 5. Then 3 times 2x squared minus 5, the power of 2 times 6x is equal to 18x times of 3x squared minus 5. Wow! Amazing! You got the correct answer. For our next lesson, we have implicit differentiation. Most of our examples for the past lesson about differentiation, that is called explicit differentiation, in which we have an addition of y is equal to a function. Then, the derivative of y with respect to x. However, some function y is written implicitly as function of x. This means that the expression not given directly in the form of y is equal to f of x. A familiar example of this equation is x squared plus y squared is equal to 5 for a circle function. To solve implicitly for this example, just multiply both sides by d over dx. Since we need to solve for the derivative of y with respect to x, so we have d over dx times x squared plus d over dx times y squared is equal to d over dx times 5. Simplify, the derivative of x squared is 2x. The derivative of y squared is 2y times dy over dx. And the derivative of 5 is 0. So, we come up with 2x plus 2y times dy over dx is equal to 0. Next step, solve in terms of dy over dx by changing the position of our terms. Then dy over dx is equal to x over y. And that is the answer. Very good. For second example, in implicit differentiation, find dy over dx or y cubed plus 4y squared plus 3x squared plus 10 is equal to 0. Differentiating both sides of the equation, d over dx times 4y cubed plus 4y squared plus 3x squared dy over dx plus 10 is equal to d over dx of 0. Then, d over dx times y cubed plus d over dx times 4y squared plus d over dx 3x squared plus d over dx of 10 is equal to d over dx of 0. We have 3y squared dy over dx plus 8y dy over dx plus 6x dy over dx plus 0 is equal to 0. Find the terms having dy over dx and factor out. We have dy over dx times quantity 3y squared plus 8y plus 6x is equal to 0. Transpose 6x to the other side of the equation. Divide both sides by 3y squared plus 8y plus 6x. Then, dy over dx is equal to negative 6x all over 3y squared plus 8y. Very good! Now, it's your turn. Find dy over dx in x cubed plus y cubed is equal to 8. We'll check your answer after this break.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corbada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
We are back. Let's check your answer. Multiply both sides by d over dx. And we have d over dx times x cubed plus d over dx times y cubed is equal to 8. Simplify, then 3x squared plus 3y squared dy over dx is equal to 0. Transpose 3x squared to the other side of the equation. We have 3y squared dy over dx is equal to negative 3x squared. Divide both sides by 3y squared and it yields dy over dx is equal to negative x squared all over y squared. Very good! You are right! For our next example, find dy over dx in y sine y is equal to xy. Solve this in just 30 seconds. Timer starts now. Time is up! You know you're right. Let's check your answer. D over dx times y sine y is equal to d over dx times xy. We have y times d over dx of sine y plus sine y d over dx of y is equal to x times d over dx of y plus y times d over dx of x. Then, and that is using the product rule. Then, y cos y dy dx plus sin y dy over dx is equal to x dy over dx plus y. Simplify, we have y cos y dy over dx plus sin y dy over dx minus x dy over dx is equal to y. Then, dy over dx times quantity y cos y plus sin y minus x is equal to y. And lastly, we have dy over dx is equal to y all over y cos y plus sin y minus x. You are right! Very good! After this topic, we have related rates. This is the application of implicit differentiation, wherein you will solve word problems. You can scan your modules or your reference for related rates. I think that will be all for today. I know you're full with the knowledge of our subject, basic calculus. Before this end, I will leave you with a quote from Isaac Newton. No great discovery was ever made without a bold guess. Thank you for your time, for spending with us. As I say, sa Z-Eskwela, siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Bye, everyone!
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive and Technical Working Committee. The school's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. Curriculum Implementation Division OIC Chief, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Program Director, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Assistant Program Director, Noemi P. Canales. Members, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, Dr. Andy P. Cabodok, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Ryan Villanueva, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard D. Apit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Production and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judilan T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen C. Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo C. Gutierrez Jr., Jade Karen R. Arais, Eliza May Garsuta, Sedi S. Caballero, and Jane S. Caballero. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya.
Kini ang Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, 88.5 Z Radio.
This is Z Radio 88.5.
Laging handa. Laging handa. Baha, tagtuyot, sunog, lindol, bagyo. Mga kalamidad na likas sa ating mundo. Napapahamak ang buhay at kabuhayan. Kaya naman kailangan ng paghandaan.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat dapat na maging laging handa. inaasahang oras.
Kaya naman hindi na dapat hintayin. Unahan na habang di pa natataranta.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat nang maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat nang maging laging handa.
Suriin mo mabuti ang iyong kapaligiran. Saan ka ba nakatira? Diyan ba ay bumabaha? Tuwing gamot pagkain, kumot pang sindi, first aid kit. Mga gamit pangligtas ng buhay dapat mabitbit. At sakaling lumindol o sumabog ang bangka, meron bang matagdaanan palayo sa kasawian? Panahon na ay malupit at ang hangin hagupit. Mabuti na lang na tayo ay laging nakahanda.
Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat nang maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat nang maging laging handa.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Education with the support of World Vision Development Foundation.
Sabay-sabay na babangon, sama-samang ahon. Ihanda ang sarili sa hamon. Ipapipigil sa pagsulong sa kinabukasan na katuon. Para sa di kalidad na edukasyon.
Eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face-to-face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, kahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ng iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Kristiyano at katutubo, isang hanggarin saan patungo. Ipagpatuloy pag-aaral mo, tagumpay ay naghihintay sa'yo.
Balik eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face-to-face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ng iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong
Isang alang-alang natin ang ating kaligtasan, sa bawat oras at panahon, magpakailanman. Hangat palagi ng ating paaralan ang matuto, gayon din maging ligtas ang kabataan. Tayo ay magkaisa, halina't sama-sama, kasali lahat, kasama lahat, para sa lahat. Pilipinas, maghanda ka na, balik eskwela na, tara. Tayong lahat sabay-sabay, pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago, mahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob, sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo.
Magbayanihan na, magbayanihan na, bayanihan, pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian. Nagtagatibay, sinasabuhay, galak sa puso ay walang kapantay. Panahon na naman ang brigada, pagbigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, brigada, eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada, eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Ikaw ako, tayong lahat, hawak kamay, sabay-sabay, kapit bisig, buong bayan. Tara na, kumilos na. Tulong-tulong sa pagsulong, hatid na kalidad sa edukasyon. Sa kabataan, saya at dunong, buong adlas sabay na aahon. Panahon na naman ng brigada, pagbigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, brigada, eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada, eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na, magbayanihan na. Brigada, sabay-sabihan na, sabay-sabihan na.
Katambalan ng pag-ahon, isang bansang puso ay pinag-iisa.
Nang diin, lahat tayo'y uunlad at aangat.
Hilyan tayo, kabrigada, diwa ng bayanihan, atin ang kasimula. Man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ang ikayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Ito ang pusong brigada, paalay pinapaganda. Pusong brigada, eskwela, walang iwanan tayo.
Paano lang tinatawag na tahanan?
Aalagaan, patuloy pagyamanin, kulay at tinig, panatilihin natin.
Ito lang,
Kapit lang,
sama-sama,
walang iwanan,
mananatiling magkasangga.
langit ay kakampirin natin. Ano man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ay kayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Brigada Eskwela, walang iwanan tayo. Walang iwanan tayo.
Hoy, tara, magklase na ta!
Tara, tara! Sige, sige! Let's go!
Kunin na ang radyo, hanapin ang Z-Radio. Halika na at makinig, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Umulan man umaraw, edukasyo'y susulong. Kaya halika na, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela.
Handog ng DepEd Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya!
Let's go!
Z-Radio 88.5.
Alauna 53 na mga ka-Z-Eskwela. And our time check is brought to us by Counselor Bugi and Miss Margie Virtudazo and the Apex Mining Company Incorporated. Ayan, so natapos na nating i-feature ating last lesson presentation for today, which is about grade 12 basic calculus na may topic na chain rule and implicit differentiations. Naway nabigyan ng linaw ang lahat ng ating mga grade 12 learners para sa ating lesson presentation for today para sa inyo. And we would like to say thank you so much and congratulations po sa ating content presenter, isang teacher too from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School, Sir Jesse Jem C. Celis. Kasama naman niya ang kanyang creative resource material developer na si Sir Leo Aljon E. Padilla, also from Nabunturan National Comprehensive High School. So thank you so much po sa ating mga content presenters and creative resource material developers for today. And for the recap po ng ating lesson presentations for today, mga ka-Z-Eskwela, Teacher Maymay Resma, ibinigay niya ang first two lesson presentation for grade 9 mathematics na may topic na the 6 trigonometric ratios, sine, cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Sinundaman yan ng ating grade 12 mathematics na Pythagorean theorem. And then we have grade 11 statistics probability for the topic the test, statistics value population proportion. And lastly for today, grade 12 basic calculus na topic na chain rule and implicit differentiation. Tomorrow po mga ka-Z-Eskwela, abangan niyo po yung ating 4 lesson presentations. We have Science 11 and 12 and also Filipino 9 and 10. Makakasama po kami, yours truly and Teacher Maymay, and of course ang tambalang Teacher Donna and Teacher Judy Landio. And bago ako magpaalam sa iyo mga ka-Z-Eskwela, nais ko rin batiin ang ating Radyo Z-Eskwela program sponsors. Thank you so much, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, Nan Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mace Enterprises Incorporated, We In Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Counselor Bugi and Miss Marjorie Virtudazo, Acon Builders and Supply, Apex Mining Company, and Bahati Construction. Ayan, so patuloy pa rin tayong sumuporta sa ating programa through our cross-line streaming gamit ang Facebook applications. So, all you have to do is to like and subscribe all our FB pages. Ug alang po sa itong mga learners for today, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, kindly notify us with your attendance by filling out our attendance link na naka-flash dyan sa ating mga FB screens. At the same time, nakapinding yan sa ating mga comment box sections to all our FB pages. And nais ko ring batiin ang Tumanda family from Gabi Compostela na sina Sir Alvin, Ma'am Donna og sa ilahang baby girl. Greetings from teacher Maymay, Resma, and yours truly. And nais ko ring batiin ang aming public district supervisor dyan sa Mao District. We have Ma'am Asusana L. Teves. Ma'am, maayong hapon og sa imong mga kaubanan dyan sa district office. And allow me to greet our school head, at the same time head teacher 1 of Tuburan National High School, Sir Rogelio Jojo A. Guno, og sa tanan ako mga kaubanan din ha sa tulungaan na naka-skeletal workforce for today dyan sa Tuburan National High School. Hi po and see you later. Ayan, it's already 1:57 na po mga kasi-eskwela. 3 minutes to go bago mag 2 p.m. na. And it's time for me to say bye-bye. And sa ngalan sa tinabuk ang puwersa sa radio-based instruction Radyo Z-Eskwela of the Department of Education, Division of Davao de Oro, nagipangunahan sa among SDS na si Ma'am Euphemia T. Gamutin. Uban usab ang staff, ang mga abihon na mga staff din sa Z-Radio 88.5, nagipangunahan sa atong station manager, Sir Nestor Mamon. Uban usab ang ako ang VMix operator for today, Sir Tata Acosar. And SMPT for today, Sir Angelo Gutierrez. Kini si Teacher Drew Manuel, ang inyong maestrong Maobenyo. Mag-uban-uban ta usab sa for another edition sa atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Dito lang yan sa atong paboritong istasyon, ang Z-Radio 88.5 FM. Ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. And as always, God bless you and to God be the glory. Bye-bye.